up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome everybody to week 2 of the PPL, where this week we're going to be taking on none other than Owls, coach of the Newport Knocked-Owls. Now, first things first, as I'm sure many of you guys have noticed, this is going to be a post-com recording. I apologize in advance for that. Basically, one of the reasons being is because I recently moved, and when I recorded this battle, the audio was all sorts of bad. I was listening to it and I was like, nobody's gonna want to listen to my live commentary with this horrible audio, so I'm doing a post-commentary. I apologize for that happening. I'm still gonna do like cuts and stuff like that, but I also figured it would be a good opportunity to talk about, you know, things I did right, things I did wrong, all that fun stuff, because something that ended up happening, I prepped for the wrong team. Or at least the wrong version of the team. So, I'm gonna go ahead and block the version that I prepped for here. Plop! So this is the outdated version that I prepped for with Mega Charizard Y, Dragapult, Farigiraf, Scrafty, Tinkaton, Venusaur, Mega Aggron, Swampert, Lycanroc Dusk, and Rotom Fan. This is a team that I prepped for, and I did a lot of my prepping before I moved, which was during the week that this was supposed to happen. And as a result, I missed the fact that Owls made trades on, I believe it was Sunday when they made trades, which was the day that I was moving. So, for the record, it's completely my fault that I missed these trades happening. I want to make that very abundantly clear. It is my job as the coach to double check and make sure that the matchup is accurate, and it wasn't. It was accurate during week 1 because this was the week 1 version of the team, but the week 2 version of the team does look very different. Shout out to Owls for being patient with me as well, because I ended up doing a slight change before jumping into the battle when I did notice that these changes happened, because I caught the changes right before the game happened, and I was able to change a certain set, which we'll talk about in a second. For now, let's talk about the actual team that my opponent had. So, instead of Tinkaton and Rotom Fan, they had Klefki, Jolteon, and Pidgeot. So, this was the team that they actually had for week 2. Again, it's my fault that I missed the trades happening on Sunday. It is what it is, but you know what? I think I adjusted fairly well. I had Mega Starmie on the original team, and then once I saw that Tinkaton in particular wasn't there, I went ahead and changed it to Dragonite over Mega Starmie, and I made Dragonite a physically offensive build, and yeah, I'll talk a bit more about the team and stuff like that once we get into it, so I think for now, let's just go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so my audio should be good at this point. You can kind of see the PPL team right there. We're bringing some really cool sets. We do have Solar Power, Choice Scarf, Heliolisk to outspeed Modest Venusaur, which is very, very fun. And there's some other sets as well. Charcoal, Salazzle is there. Screen Sableye is there. Because Farigiraf is there, I did not feel comfortable bringing like an Encore set, which would have been nice in this matchup, but I didn't feel comfortable bringing it. We're going to see on my opponent's end, it is going to be Mega Charizard, Dragapult, Klefki, Venusaur, Swampert, and Jolteon. This is more or less what I expected, minus possibly the Farigiraf taking place of one of these mons, like maybe Dragapult, but this is overall pretty much the 6 that I expected, especially once I saw the team changes that were made. I was like, oh, Jolteon actually looks really good into my team, and I was fully expecting, I was like, I wonder if it's going to be Choice Scarf. I would not be surprised if it was, to just guarantee outspeed everything on my team, because Choice Scarf Salazzle and Choice Scarf Heliolisk both look really solid into their team, so I have that in the back of my head. Basically, Sableye lead here looks really good, being able to immediately set up screens. I also have Nightshade and Snarl to help provide support. It's overall a very good lead. Salazzle has Overheat, Encore, Fake Out, and Protect, just to help provide fast support and do some fun stuff with that. Mega Abomasnow is a standard Mega special attacking set with Blizzard, Giga Drain, Protect, and Earth Power. Choice Scarf Heliolisk with Solar Power is there to help take advantage of Sun, because my Sun matchup does not look like, my matchup into this specific team with Sun does not look very good. So I want to have a Pokemon that punishes them setting up the Sun, especially if they have Modest Venusaur. If they have Timid Venusaur, then there's just no way for Heliolisk to outspeed, but I do outspeed that, so that's really nice. I ended up leaving Salazzle and Vivillon on the bench. Vivillon is a Rage Powder Tailwind supporter with Pollen Puff as well. And then Dragonite, like I said before, is an offensive set with Brick Break to help break screens. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to see that their lead is Dragapult Jolteon, a very hyper-offensive lead and a very scary one at that, as we lead Heliolisk and Sableye. Overall, not the worst thing in the world for me. I immediately set up my screens. I'm expecting this Dragon Pult to be special. That's usually what they are. And then here I'm like, okay, do I go for Shed Tail? Do I go for Hyper Voice? Do I go for Dragon Pulse? Eventually, I do end up going for Dragon Pulse into the Dragon Pult, just so that way I can get as much damage off as possible. I think getting damage off on Dragon Pult is extremely valuable, and I don't want to risk Shed Tail them doubling the Heliolisk for whatever reason, and doubling that slot, and then nuking whatever wants to switch in. So, we're going to see here, I go ahead and click the button, and we are going to see that we move first with Light Screen, obviously, because Prankster has priority, and then we are going to see that Jolteon moves first. This confirms that Jolteon is Choice Scarf, because otherwise Heliolisk would not be able to would have been able to outspeed it. We go for Dragon Pulse, we do a lot of damage to this Dragon Pult, which is very nice damage. And we also reveal that we are Scarf because obviously Dragon Pult would outspeed. And we see Dragon Darts. Dragon Darts reveals that this is a physical variant and it does a lot of damage. And I realize, this is a problem. So I did not expect this to be physical. I thought it was going to be doubly special. So I'm a little bit concerned about that because Dragon Pult and possibly physical Swampert in the back is very terrifying into this team. So we set up a Reflect immediately, and then I'm going to go ahead and I debate whether I should stay in or not. I decided to Dragon Pulse into the Jolteon this time because of the fact I'm fully expecting Dragon Pult to switch out. They could go for Protect, but I don't see that happening. So far, this is mostly just an intel gathering game, and right now, like, seeing Physical Pult was definitely, and Choice Scarf Jolteon was definitely a concern. I was worried about Choice Scarf Jolteon in prep because I was like, I don't have a lot of ways to punish that, and sure enough, it is here. So, unfortunate, but we are going to see the Charizard hit the field, big Charizard. The nice thing here is that Light Screen is active, and it's active against both of these guys, so that's helpful, but we're going to see a Thunderbolt into the Heliolisk. We do manage to tank it, but we cannot tank two, unfortunately. And we are going to fire off our own Dragon Pulse back into the Jolteon slot. And I realize the Jolteon is kind of, I don't know if there's like a lot of bulk investment, but it's definitely like going to take more hits than I expected. And unfortunately, I'm like, okay, Sableye is going to go down here. It's already done its job. I'm just going to click Snarl, and I'm going to switch it to Dragonite. Now, Dragonite was actually Inner Focus, specifically for Fake Out and Scrafty. Because Tinkaton wasn't on the team, I think this was a very big mistake. Realistically, Scrafty does have a solid matchup into my team, but I think Inner Focus is a little bit too much of an oversight. Or like not oversight, but an over prep. And I had it initially for Fake Out Tinkaton because I was really worried about Fake Out Tinkaton. But obviously Tinkaton was traded off the field. And I think I had Tinkaton a bit too much in my mind when I was doing the last minute prep. So Dragonite is Inner Focus over Multiscale. Hindsight is 2020. Definitely should have been Multiscale for this specific reason. Now thankfully, we do get paralyzed. Well, we don't. Not thankfully, we get paralyzed, but thankfully we have the Lumberry. The Lumberry was there for Sleep Powder Venusaur, but we'll also gladly take it for that specific situation. We end up dodging a Heat Wave, which is really nice, and they don't Mega their Charizard, so they are aware of the possibility of me having Solar Power Heliolisk and a Abomasnow in the back. So that is really important information to know. Unfortunately, there's nothing really else I can do here. I don't want to go into Heliolisk. As long as Jolteon is on the field, Heliolisk does not stand a chance. Heliolisk needs to go in order for, or not Heliolisk, Jolteon needs to go so Heliolisk can pop off. And I'm also realizing at this point, the best chances of me, I think, to really get Dragonite online, I have to go for Dragon Dance. This is the other reason I was scared of Choice Scarf Jolteon as well. The nice thing is, Jolteon can't go for Weather Ball because obviously it is choice locked into Thunderbolt. But also, Multiscale would have been very nice here because then we would have been able to go for a, whatchamacallit, we would have been able to go for the other thing, just one Dragon Dance, and then we could go click Outrage next turn. We would be able to guarantee live, because right now it's seeming like it's going to be a roll for the next two Thunderbolts to kill. So, we're going to see that they Mega their Charizard, we're Megaing our Abomasnow, so thankfully we get this read right, as the Charizard is going to unfortunately lose out on the Sun that it really so desperately likes. And we're also going to see that it goes for Protect. Oh, actually, I forgot, I did not Mega my Abomasnow here. I think, maybe in hindsight I should have Mega'd there. I don't think there was any real reason for me not to Mega. So, we do see a Thunderbolt into the Dragonite. We did go for Protect with the Abomasnow just in case, but I do think that I should have gone for Blizzard. I think that was a slight mistake. I understand the read and why I made it, because I was expecting Charizard to go for the whatchamacallit, but I do think that that was a bit of a mistake. Now we're going to Mega and Blizzard. At the very least now we guarantee weather control, which is nice. And then I'm going to click Protect with Dragonite. This is my second... Well, honestly, there's not really much else I could have done here. Right now, I'm kind of realizing that I'm kind of on the back foot. And in fact, actually, I probably should have let the sun up in hindsight for Dragapult. I think that's probably would have been the better play. I think I should have let the sun up for Heliolisk, but realistically, it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm realizing now that I'm in a pretty bad situation after that play. Again, I think I should have just gone on the hyper offense for them expecting to protect from Abomasnow, but regardless, we do Mega Abomasnow. We're going to get the snow set up, and I'm going to hope that we live a Heat Wave somehow, but I'm fully expecting to just die immediately. We do manage to land the Protect on Dragonite, so at the very least, we will be able to tank up Heat Wave if it's spread damage and stuff like that, so that's what I'm hoping for at this point. I'm hoping that the spread damage for some reason is not enough, or that they missed their Heat Wave. If they missed their Heat Wave here, that'd be phenomenal. Unfortunately, Heat Wave does land, and it does one-shot Abomasnow, even through the light screen. So, the quad weaknesses are rough. Mega Charizard Y is a beast, and at this point, it's like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's GG's at this point. There's nothing I can do. The Heliolisk is going to die to the Jolteon, and the Dragonite is going to die to Jolteon eventually. Like, I'll be lucky. I might be able to pick up a kill. I'm obviously going for Outrage here in the hopes that I can pick up a kill. And I'm going for Hyper Voice just to try to deal as much spread damage as possible. But at this point, it's basically, I'm getting 4-0'd in the first game. This does not feel good. Again, a big reason for that is because of the fact that I did not accurately prep for this version of the team like I should have. Again, that's on me. I should have double checked. I want that to be very abundantly clear. I was hopeful that we would live that Thunderbolt. We did not. But it's absolutely on me for not being able to, like, not paying attention to what I needed to. And unfortunately, Hyper Voice is not going to kill the Jolteon. I think, realistically, I should have just gone for the electric move into the Dragapult. I think if I had gone for the electric move, I would have killed the Pult. Well, maybe not killed the Pult, but I would have killed the Charizard that was sitting right there, because also Volt Absorb doesn't redirect. This is where I really wished Heliolisk had an electric absorbing move, but it is what it is. Heliolisk is going to go down, and we end up losing the first game 0-4. A very unfortunate loss. So, at this point, like, I'm very heavily on the back foot. They know a lot about my builds, but I also know a lot about their builds, too. I know a lot about some of their scariest sets. I also don't know what Pokemon they brought in the back. I don't know if it was Venusaur, Klefki, or Swampert. I did not expect it to be Swampert, just purely based off the fact that I did not bring Rain, and I have a Mega Abomasnow. But, you know, you never know. So now I'm thinking about my game 2. I actually kind of was talking about wanting to bring Vivillon here. I did, like, yeah, because I think Friend Card is pretty valuable, and obviously Rage Powder redirection, and then Tailwind support could be really solid, especially against that Choice Scarf Jolteon. But I very quickly realized that Vivillon does not do a lot here, and I think this was a major mistake in prep. Vivillon was a sitting duck. Now, granted, obviously Vivillon was a Pokemon that was added on the previous version of the team, but even with the previous version of the team, in hindsight, it had Tigaton and Rotom fans. So I think Vivillon, this specific Vivillon set was not the brain. I think this was a major mistake in prep. I think I should have had something else like maybe Mega Starmie over Vivillon, or maybe even Politoed over Vivillon as well, even though I was scared of like Swampert going crazy, like Life Orb Swampert or something like that. I do think Vivillon was not the brain. You can see me hovering over it, really wanting to bring it to catch my opponent off guard, but then I realized it's like, Pollen Puff does nothing into this team. It quite literally does nothing, and Vivillon is kind of a wasted slot. I'm essentially doing a 5v6. So that was another mistake in my prep. That was the major mistake. I actually did like my last minute pivot with my Dragonite set. I really liked it a lot. I think it was a really solid Pokemon here, which is why you can see I'm bringing it. But honestly, a lot of my builds I really liked. Vivillon was just the sore thumb that really stood out and made me kind of regret bringing it here. You can see me debating about what my last Pokemon should be. I eventually decide, okay, Screens is really good into this team, especially if they have Klefki in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Screens. We're going to see that we lead off with Salazzle and Abomasnow. I really like immediately firing off, like, solid Blizzards, because, yes, there's Wide Guard stuff that the shenanigans of the Swampert could do, but Swampert really can't do much to Mega Abomasnow. We're going to see Charizard and Dragapult as a lead, which is very upsetting. I was not a big fan of that. But I do like seeing the Dragapult here. So this is where Fake Out Encore comes in handy quite a bit, because I can fake out the Charizard slot and make sure it cannot move. Even if they set up the Sun here, I also Mega my Abomasnow. I'm hoping that they just go for the Mega Heat Wave. That's kind of what I want here, especially because the Dragon Bolt is physical. We'll see what happens. I think Blizzard is a very free button click, though, thanks to this happening. So we're going to see that we Mega first, which means the Charizard does not Mega, unfortunately. As much as I really wish it did, it does not Mega here, so that really sucks, but it is what it is. At the very least, we'll get a hit off. Maybe not against the Charizard, because it's going for a Protect, but you know what? We'll be able to hit this Dragon Bolt at the very least, and at the very least, Charizard's not going for an attack into the Abomasnow. Then we see Phantom Force, and I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot Phantom Force was a thing, even though I literally had a physical Dragon Darts Phantom Force Light Screen Dragon Bolt in my Regulation MA team that I climbed the Master Ball with, which was very fun. Check out that video if you haven't already. But the nice thing about the Charizard going for Protect, I can immediately just Encore Lock it into Protect and just go for another free Blizzard. Yes, they'll probably Mega this turn now that I have my weather setter on the field, and I cannot reset the weather with it, but at the very least, if I can Encore Lock Charizard into Protect, that would be great. I'm hoping that the Dragon Bolt is targeting the Abomasnow here because of the fact that that allows Salazzle to get a free Encore off. So that's what I'm hoping for. Charizard does Mega here, bada bing, bada boom, and we're going to see that they reset up the Sun. They go for Phantom Force into the Salazzle, and thankfully we live. We live thanks to some bulk that I invested into. I think I invested some bulk into Salazzle, I think. But regardless, we go for Encore. We Encore lock the Charizard into Protect, which is great because it also fails to Protect. And then I go for Blizzard and hope that it lands against a Dragon Bolt. And it does! And we nuke it, as well as doing a lot of damage to the Charizard, which you'll see here was a critical hit. That's really good turn for me, because now Charizard is sitting duck, it's forced to switch out. I have a free Overheat online with Salazzle in the Sun, which is really nice. We're going to see Jolteon hit the field, and I'm like, Weather Ball is so incredibly obvious here, it's not even funny. But now I'm like, okay, do I Protect with Salazzle? Do I go for Overheat? My best play here is to Overheat with Salazzle and either Protect or switch out with Abomasnow. I decide, you know what? This is the best turn for me to make adjustments because of the fact that the Charizard is switching out. I'm thinking that Swampert's not in the back. That's what I'm expecting. If it's not Swampert, Overheat's doing a crap ton of damage to the Venusaur and the Klefki, and then I swap out Mega Abomasnow into the Dragonite to tank the Weather Ball. We're gonna see that Swampert is the Pokemon in the back. In hindsight, I absolutely should have nuked the Jolteon, which was guaranteed staying on the field and guaranteed going for an attack. I think I would have killed the Jolteon straight up if I had done this. We're going to see Electro Web. They locked themselves into Electro Web. Oh, also, because of Electro Web, I ended up dying anyways with Salazzle. But again, point still stands. I do think attacking the Jolteon in hindsight was better, but again, I genuinely was not expecting the Swampert to be here. However, because of Jolteon being Choice Scarf, I'm like, okay, this is great. I can just bring in Mega Abomasnow. Electro Web is going to do nothing to this thing, and I immediately threaten out Swampert. Now the question becomes, okay, what do I do here? I can go for Giga Drain into the Swampert. I can just go for Blizzard. I can be afraid of the Mega Charizard coming in. I have to figure out what I want to do here. I decided to just go for Blizzard. Just so that way, you know, being able to hit at least one of the Pokemon for a lot of damage is nice. Preferably, it's going to be the Charizard. And if it's not the Charizard, like, if they just stay in, then that's great. But they don't want to risk Swampert going for Wide Guard here, because Rat's move could do a crap ton of damage. And now I'm at -1 with Dragonite. I'm going to go for Outrage just in case the Blizzard play doesn't work out. I think this is very valuable. I think I really like this play. And we're going to see that they end up swapping the Jolteon out, which actually surprised me. I really thought they were going to switch out Swampert. They end up going into Charizard. And we are going to see that we go for the Outrage into the Mega Charizard. Really nice. Big fan of that. So the Charizard's going to go down. Mega is out of the way. We still have a full HP Mega with the Jolteon and the Swampert on the field. The Swamp Bomb avoided the attack. And we're going to see the Swampert goes for Ice Beam into the Dragonite. Uh-oh, this is a big problem. Obviously, because of the fact that now the weather is locked into Sun, and Jolteon can just click Weather Ball. Very scary stuff. Then I realized at this point that I'm staring down a Swampert and a Jolteon. It's a really, really scary situation here. I immediately go for Protect with the Abomasnow, and then I realize Snarl could actually win me the game, because Snarl will lower the special attack of both Swampert and Jolteon. Swampert's a special attacker build, which took me by a complete surprise, But I also realize everything on my opponent's team is special aside from Dragapult. Light Screen is insane value here, which is also really good information for Game 3 if I manage to make it to Game 3. So I realized my best opportunity to actually win this game is to go for Snarl and hope that the -1 and Light Screen will be enough to live a hit from Jolteon. So, we go for the Protect with the Mega Abomasnow in the hopes that they target down the Abomasnow. They do go for Weather Ball into the Abomasnow, and we get a successful Protect, and we're going to see Earth Power into the Sableye, which we don't enjoy tanking that, but you know what, at least we tank it. And then we're going to go for a Snarl, and we managed to hit both of them, which is really nice, and both of their special attacks drop. Now, here's where things get interesting. I can go try for the double, but I realize if Jolteon's going to try to target down the Sableye, expecting me to try and just keep clicking Protect. My best play here is to set up Light Screen and hope that the Jolteon dies. We see Wide Guard from the Swampert. Let's hope that Jolteon targets the Sableye, which is what I'm hoping for. We go for the Light Screen, we set up the Light Screen, so now we have a Light Screen with -1 active, and we're going to see Weather Ball into the Abomasnow. Uh-oh! And we live! Crucial. Extremely crucial. So I'm like, yes! Let's go! Earth Power! And Jolteon lives on 2%. So I'm like, oh no! This is a problem. So the obvious play here is I click Protect. So I click Protect on Abomasnow, and then I realize the only way I make it out of this alive is if Jolteon dies this turn. Something you might not have noticed, because of the speed investment that I actually put in Mega Abomasnow, somehow I outspeed Swampert, which is crazy for the record. I did not expect to outspeed Swampert, but we do outspeed Swampert. That's something I neglected to mention. Very crucial information. I actually go for Giga Drain into the Jolteon, thinking that Jolteon's going to expect me to Protect, and they're going to double the Sableye. I need Jolteon to die this turn. I'm taking a massive gamble here. We see Weather Ball into Sableye, which is massive. Sableye manages to live. We go for Giga Drain into the Jolteon slot. As you can see, we outspeed the Swampert. Jolteon dies. Absolutely massive. So now I have to hope that Swampert doesn't kill Abomasnow or that it double targets into the Sableye. Either situation wins. They Ice Beam into Mega Abomasnow, and we live on 6 HP. Somehow, we managed to pull out a dub in game number 2, which means we're going into game number 3. This endgame, in my opinion, was the best, some of the best I've played in terms of like battles like this where I was on the back foot. I've been on the back foot this entire set so far. So getting this massive victory and this massive win is really great morale for me. And being able to knock out the Swampert here. Swampert also isn't Rindoberry, which took me by surprise. This was an absolutely massive victory for me. And that also takes us to a game 3, which, as you'll soon see, proves to be extremely valuable in terms of the rankings. This win was actually really massive for me. A lot more massive than I even realized at the time. But we'll get into that another time. So now it is time for Game 3. And once again, I consider if I should bring Vivillon or not. But the thing with Vivillon, once again, like I said before, is it just really doesn't do anything. You can see me immediately hover over Vivillon because I really want to bring it to hopefully surprise my opponent. But then I realize it's just way too passive. It is way too passive in this specific matchup. Tailwind strats could be nice, but it's just not good. It's not valuable here. Sableye, on the other hand, looks phenomenal. Light Screen Sableye, because Dragon Bolt is the only physical attacker, looks... sorry about that. Sableye looks insane here with Light Screen. The only physical Pokemon is the Dragon Bolt and maybe the Klefki if it's running Play Rough, but other than that, Sableye looks nuts. And I actually really like Sableye Abomasnow lead here. Sableye Abomasnow looks actually really, really good into my opponent's team, especially if they don't lead Charizard, and I don't think they're leading Charizard if I have Salazzle in the back. So what I do is I bring Salazzle in the back, or if I lead Salazzle, they don't want to lead Charizard, I should say. Or even if I lead Dragonite, because I could lead Dragonite here. I end up bringing Dragonite, speaking of, because I really liked Outrage Dragonite in this game. They have not brought Klefki once in this entire set so far as I know. They might have brought it in the back for game 1, but I really highly doubt that that was the Pokemon they had in the back that I didn't see. I think it was probably Venusaur, maybe Swampert, but I'm expecting full Sun mode this time. That is my assumption, but I could be completely wrong. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and head into this game 3 with a little bit of momentum on our side that hopefully we can use to ride our way to victory. We are going to see Jolteon Dragapult. Phenomenal lead for me, leading Sableye and Abomasnow. Absolutely massive for me. huge fan of this. So immediately we just get off the light screen for free to just take care of the Jolteon, and then we just immediately, there's no reason for me not to Mega a Blizzard here. There's zero reason. Yes, the Dragon Ball could go for Phantom Force here. That's fine. If it doesn't, it's going to die. We know this already. So we immediately just get off our Mega to deal as much damage as possible. This is also a modest max special attack Abomasnow as well. I should probably mention that. So we Mega Evolve here. We set the light screen. Maybe I should have set the Reflect first, but as it turns out, this is actually the right play because they go for Weather Ball with Jolteon. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Maybe just to deal as much damage as possible into the Abomasnow, which makes sense. And then we see Sunny Day Dragapult. And I realized, like, oh, that was a slight miscalculation for my opponent. Because they forgot that the Jolteon outspeeds Dragapult, that allowed this massive play to happen where they go for Weather Ball thinking they're going to absolutely nuke me. But because Jolteon outspeeds Dragapult, they ended up not setting up the Sun first. The problem with this is we missed the Dragapult. A very bad miss. For the record, yes, I landed in game 2, so I can't complain too much, but this was a pretty rough miss. So now I have to think about, okay, they're going for Weather Ball into the Mega Abomasnow. That makes the most sense here. I could Protect here, but there's no reason for the Jolteon not to Weather Ball into the Mega Abomasnow slot. So I'm like, okay, how do I handle this then? I go for Reflect with Sableye just because that's the freest button click, especially if it's not Infiltrator Dragon Ball, which I expected to probably be Clear Body. It might be Infiltrator, and I actually still don't know if it was Infiltrator or not. There's a good chance it was Infiltrator, but regardless, we end up switching out into Salazzle because I'm like, I think Dragonite's going to be more valuable because once these two threats are gone, then Dragonite can kind of just win the game, which is really nice. We go for Weather Ball into the Sableye, so they did read that I was switching out, unfortunately, but at the very least, set up a Reflect. We're going to see Dragon Darts, which is a bit unfortunate. Dragon Darts into the Sableye. This could very easily be Infiltrator Dragapult. I could definitely see that being the case now, and now that I look at that damage again, it probably is. Sorry, I'll get closer to the microphone. But now I'm going to make a pretty major read. I'm going to switch into Abomasnow, and then I can go for Fake Out into the Jolteon if I really wanted to. I can go for Overheat. I can go for Protect, or even Encore Lock the Dragapult. There's a few things I can do here. But I really like the Fake Out into the Jolteon. It does a lot of chip damage. It does, like, solid chip damage, which I really like. Sableye, I do like saving Sableye here for possible endgame screens. So I immediately, or as a possible sack. So I switch out Sableye, go with the Mega Abomasnow. This is a bit of a risk, but I don't think I'm going to take too much damage from this Dragapult. So we go for Fake Out into the Jolteon, which ends up paying off dividends quite well. This is a good play. This is a good read for me. We're going to see Dragon Darts from the Dragapult. Bada bing, bada boom. Yup, there we go. And then this is going to be where I make a mistake. I go for Protect the Salazzle. Now, on paper, you might think, well, that's not a bad play. Why do you think that's a bad play? Well, I should have been protected on Salazzle because of Dragon Darts and how it works. You'll see why in a second. What I should have done was I should have just gone into Sableye and sacked it off here. The whole reason I saved Sableye was for a sack. Like, yes, maybe late game screens could be nice, but realistically, the screens were going to stay because of the light play. And I don't think they even have any brick-breaking potential on their side of this team. So I go for Protect the Salazzle, which ended up, once again, being a mistake. We're going to see that they go for Weather Ball into the Mega Abomasnow. Very unfortunate for me. And then, this is when I realized my mistake. Dragon Darts, if you protected one of your Pokemon, Dragon Darts goes into this slot. Yeah, that's how Dragon Darts work. Dragon Darts is an insane move in doubles. It's really good. Every single time my play there was to go into Sableye and hoped that I lived a Weather Ball, but because they targeted both the Jolteon and the Dragapult, landed all their hits at the Mega Abomasnow, that's going to realistically cost me this game. That was the throw of the century that I made there. Had I not protected with Salazzle and sacked off Sableye, Blizzard would have KO'd Jolteon and Dragapult. I cannot overstate how bad of a play I made here. That was the worst play I could have done. Yes, Phantom Force was a thing, but every single time here, literally if I had not protected, then I would have been put in a much better situation. And there was a chance that I could have won Game 3 because of that play. So unfortunately, Salazzle and Sableye are both going to go down to Jolteon and Dragapult, and then it just comes down to if Dragonite can even pick up a kill or not. I'm sure Mega Charizard was in the bag, and it was probably either Swampert or Mega Venusaur. It might actually have been Swampert, I'm not too sure. I will spoil this a little bit. I'd go for the Double Protect. Double Protect is my only out in this situation because I have to try and avoid the Weather Ball. That's my only out at this point. And we're going to see Weather Ball, obviously. Spoiler alert, I don't land a Double Protect, and we're going to lose the set 0-4 once again. You'll see here I go for the Double Protect. I fail. Jolteon's going to pick up the kill with a quad effective Weather Ball. And then that is going to be GG's. Well, technically I live. I forgot about that. But, you know, doesn't matter. They're going for Drag Darts into me. There's no reason for them. Yeah, you know. Again, that was my only out. And even then, it was a really shoddy out. Yeah, this was a massive blunder on my part. Once again, I don't know if I would have won the set necessarily if I had managed to make that Blizzard play. I do think if I did manage to make that Blizzard play, then this situation would have been very different. At the very least, it would have gone to an 0-2 or an 0-1 loss as opposed to an 0-4. So that part was quite unfortunate. I'm assuming it was most certainly Mega Charizard in the back, but the nice thing again, I would have been able to save Mega Abomasnow, switch it out, maybe, or even just leave it in if I really wanted to. My guess is there's probably Zard and Venusaur in the back, in which case it still would have been very dicey because of the fact that, you know, Dragonite would have been my win con there, and I would have had to set up a Dragon Dance and then go for Outrage and hope that I don't get burned and slept to oblivion, or just chipped down to oblivion. I do genuinely think that there is absolutely a world, if Klefki didn't show up in the back, where Dragonite would have won the game at that point. And just, yeah. So, lessons learned, obviously. First off, always double check your opponent's team at the beginning of the week when it starts, so that way you can make sure you didn't miss a trade. I definitely will be doing that, making sure I do that from here on out. Again, normally I try to make sure I do that, but because of the move going on that I had, I just completely forgot to, and I completely forgot that I didn't do that. So, it's absolutely on me for the record. Please don't send any hate to, like, anybody, you know, like, don't do that. This was 100% a mistake that I made. Also, I do not say this to discredit how Elphowl was played. That game one, Elphowl was just dominated that game. And then the game 3, again, I just did not play. I misplayed, and he took advantage of that misplay. So Elphowl has absolutely deserved the W on this set. I'm just happy that I was able to somehow pick up a game at the very least, so it wasn't a complete wash. So once again, GG's to Elphowls. Their links will be down in the description below, so please consider checking out their side of the battle. I cannot wait to see it personally. The nice thing, though, about me winning that second game is, differential-wise, it actually comes in handy quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and show the Week 2 results, the Week 2 standings, where we're at right now, and you'll see that somehow I'm in 5th, despite having a really bad differential. That is because I had a perfect 2-0 game last week, and then this week it went 1-2 for us. So while my differential is at a -4, and my win-loss ratio is 1-1, that +1 is from the game that I won in this set. Had I not won that, then not only would my differential be worse, but also I'd be way farther down. But because of that +1, that is actually going to come in handy quite a bit, because as you can see, we're above who has a +5 differential. But the reason we're above is because in the set that he lost did not pick up a game. So his overall games won and lost ratio is still at a flat 0. So that win for us was massive. That being said, we're absolutely going to have to keep playing to our outs and keep playing at the top of our game if we want to keep up with everybody else, because our differential now is quite unfortunate. We are going to have to really lock in and make sure we power through and not allow us to fall even further behind in the rankings and just win as many games as possible. Winning games is the most important thing we can do right now. So that is going to be our goal, but regardless, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping things up here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite moment of the battle was. Always be sure to double check your opponent's team before you fully finish your preps. And with all that being said, I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!